Well, talking about beating people up, Stephen A. Smith today said that if LeBron James would have touched him, he would have swung on him. And LeBron James came on the Pat McAfee show before that, because that's a response of saying, like, man, Stephen A. Smith is going on his Taylor Swift run.
Yeah, I heard that.
First of all, Stephen A. Smith, you a motherfucking liar. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. You would never put your job and your $400 million paycheck on the line to punch LeBron James. And if you did, that's insanity. Because your job would immediately be gone. You would never have a show again. You would never be allowed to broadcast sports in an arena. You'd be kicked out of every arena in the country. If you hit LeBron, imagine someone punched Michael Jordan back in the day.
He said if he put his hands on him. So therefore, he has every right to defend himself. Now, do I think that Stephen A. would have punched him in the face? No, of course not. I don't think that. But I don't think that he would lose his job.
His hands like LeBron pokes you in the chest, or his hands like LeBron picks you up? Or is LeBron like?
I think he meant LeBron. Like any type
what
of
type of hands?
I think any type of
So
touch.
if LeBron poked him in the chest twice, he was going to swing on him.
No. Listen, I told you, I don't believe that he would hit LeBron James at all. But I don't feel like he would lose his job if he did hit LeBron James. I don't think so. Why? He touched him. He defended himself. What are we talking about? You can't just come in there.
What are we talking
touching
about?
People.
ESPN's going to have him on there?
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. Why not?
Because if you are an executive or if you're an analyst for Walmart and you come into Walmart and you punch the best employee, you're no longer going to be an analyst at Walmart.
No. Okay. Now, if the best employee was aggressive with you and
aggressively yelling at you and touched you?
No. If they you can't touch anyone. That's considered assault, regardless of how light the touch is.
It's the softest shit I ever heard.
Yeah, I know, but it is assault. So therefore, you get to defend yourself. A lot of times, people wait for other people to touch them, then they commence the whooping their ass. That's true, and that's real. And you'd be like, he touched me. You've seen it on those little bus drivers where the guy is acting wild on the bus, and he touches the bus driver. Bus driver stands up and just beats the shit out of him and throws him off the bus. It happens all the time. He's defending himself at that point.
Now, something that I find interesting is Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith do not get along.
They don't.
I feel like LeBron James did this as a coy to like, okay, you're fucking with me. This is your rival show. And I know they're having trouble not getting NBA players because he called them out, Pat McAfee. Now LeBron is like, I'm going to show up to this podcast and give it like a nice verification. I'm telling you, more NBA players are going to show up to Pat McAfee. And that $5 million, 5-year...
Do you think a lot of people hate Stephen A.?
They don't like the monster he's becoming. He's becoming really full of himself. If I had ESPN backing, of course, I'm going to be like, I have the #1 show.
Hasn't he always been full of himself?
Not this much. He shows up to arena like he's about to play. Have you seen how he walks around and plays? He shows up like he's a player.
Wait a minute, you are aware that those cameras are the cameras just picking him up. They're picking him up. They're watching him. He's just going to the game.
And he has like a limp. The limp. He's walking with swag.
So he's walking with too much swag.
Hey man, this is the thing about Stephen A. Smith. And say what you want about Jason Whitlock, but he's a journalist. And he said, how can a player who only played one game average 1.5 points? Because in his book, he played one game and he tore his something and he couldn't play again. But he's averaging 1.5 points.
Are you talking about Stephen A. again?
Yeah.
So Stephen A. wasn't a player.
What does that have to do with Stephen A.'s job?
Yeah. He's not a player.
Before the 90s, there was damn near no players that analyzed games.
Absolutely.
This is a new thing.
Yeah, it is a new thing.
But the people who did that didn't walk around acting like they could play. Stephen Smith walks around like he could play.
I don't think he acts like he could play. I think since he did play a little bit, he feels like
he didn't play shit.
He understands
1.5 points on one game.
I said a little bit. I just said, listen. So since he does have that experience playing basketball, I just think he feels like he understands the game. And when you listen to his conversation, he does understand the game. To me. Just to me. I can't believe you hate Stephen A. Wait a minute. How do you feel about him?
I think Stephen A. show is entertaining.
Yeah,
I think he's an entertaining analyst because he's a little bit more raw than other people, and he does say whatever the fuck he wants. But he is also getting way too full of himself lately, like the way he does.
I mean, he got 100 million.
Yeah, of course. But
he got 100 million.
But I'm not gonna.
But I think he was the same asshole he was before the 100 million.
I'm not gonna say he's not like one of the biggest people on sports analyzing. Right. He's for sure the biggest, if not the big. Like, you know what I mean?
Sharp is coming for him.
Shannon Sharp. I haven't heard shit about Shannon Sharp since fucking.
You know what?
What's the interview? Who did it? Oh, Cat Williams. Fuck, he's done since Cat Williams.
He's on ESPN. Nightcap is doing pretty well.
I saw more Shannon Sharp when he was on fucking that show with
Skip.
Homeboy. Yeah.
With Skip.
That shit was my favorite show to watch every day.
You know, prior to Skip kind of get it beside itself, and especially when he was on ESPN, I liked Skip. I actually enjoyed Skip over Stephen A. at that particular time.
Skip got weird though too. He's way too much on like I'm fucking Lil Wayne's friend.
Yeah, but
like shit. Like what?
I just thought this. Yeah, he just got. You know what? It just when I watched Skip towards the end, unfortunately I think he got old.
Yeah.
I just think that's what happened. He got ornery, he got old, and he was just sticking to stuff because he had mentioned it before and he was writing that out. I've seen Stephen A. at least say, you know what, maybe I was wrong.
Yeah,
and I think you have to be able to say that.
He said that about Bronny because he was wrong.
It's harder for a guy like Stephen A. to say he's wrong too because he's so vocal and loud when he is going at people.
Right, but I've heard him say, I was wrong. I think that
Whitlock, Whitlock is crazy.
I think that's cool.
Misunderstood guy.
Whitlock?
Yeah, he's not that bad. He does his homework. He just say shit to say shit too.
So you don't like Stephen A., right?
I'm like every year he's getting more on my bad side. But with everything, nothing lasts forever.
Do you honestly feel like if he left ESPN, it would be the same?
I think it would take a little bit, but they'll find somebody. There's
as
always
entertaining as Stephen A.
First of all, you think ratings would go down for ESPN?
Absolutely.
Like barely, maybe like for a week. People are good. Now Stephen A. is a huge
not
voice.
ESPN First Take is
nobody's
done.
Yeah, of course.
He's
but anybody who leaves a show is going to be done.
You put Pat McAfee in that slot.
Get the fuck out of here.
Miss a
Pat McAfee can do shit in that position, especially with basketball. He doesn't have a chance. He has a better chance focusing on football just like he does.
Well, thank God football is the #1 sport in America.
Yeah.
By a mile.
But the only thing, it's just in America. Basketball extends outside of this, and we already know what soccer is. Soccer's...
Stephen A. Smith doesn't talk soccer.
Huh? No, I know, but I'm just saying basketball is bigger than football worldwide. We already know that. That's easy.
I want to see in 5 years. I think the fall for Stephen A. Smith is starting now.
Thank God he gets that $100 million to lean on.
Yeah. And then when ESPN does budget cuts like they usually do every year, 2-3 years, hey, he might be in Fox Sports.
Stephen A. is never going to be on the budget cut list. Secondly, he's never going to lose that much. Like, Stephen A. is a smarter guy than to, like, throw his fucking career around, I think.
Well, yeah. LeBron is kind of setting it up, but he also said about LeBron is like, after you retire, nobody's going to be talking about you.
LeBron?
Stephen A. Smith said that about LeBron.
I feel like that might be true.
It's not true.
Why would you talk about LeBron?
Because he's going to put himself in places that you can talk about.
Like, I'm just... Okay, let's just say...
Why would you talk about any influencer on earth? Nobody gives a fuck about them, but they put themselves places...
Michael Jordan is the best player, at least for me and you, Michael Jordan is one of the best players that ever played
He's the best player ever. Don't you ever stumble over those words again.
I didn't stumble.
Yeah, one of. Don't you say one of. He's the best.
Okay, he's the best. I totally agree. So, he owned the team. He did all that. They're saying LeBron's going to own the Vegas team. And I think that go into the shadows after that. And I don't think there's
Michael
anything
Jordan
wrong.
Has
gets
not gone
talked
into the
about
shadow.
more than any sports figure on the planet.
He gets talked about.
You go into any Foot Locker, any shoe store, any clothing store, anywhere, you see that little jump man. He sponsors half the fucking NCAA programs in the world. He owns NBA teams. Anytime he does anything, it's a story.
So where do you feel LeBron doesn't have that same
He
thing?
has tequila. He has his own shoes. He has Nike.
What shoes?
He
Oh, you
has
talking about
his
his
brand.
shoes?
Yeah, he has LeBron's.
I don't think
He
that
has his production company.
See, I don't think that he has a similar shoe deal as Jordan. He's not going to be able to have his own brand. It doesn't extend that way because what Nike did, they seen that kind of stuff happening, and then they made these people lifetime members of Nike, which voids them becoming this outside brand.
Yeah, I get that because Nike's like, nah, not again.
Yeah. We're not gonna do that.
But
again.
ultimately, it doesn't, like, we say that, but Jordan gets pennies compared to what Nike makes off Jordan. Jordan makes a small percentage of the Jordan brand. You know that, right?
I think I'm not really sure what they make. What do they make? Is it like Jordans? Is like 4 to 6 billion? I'm not really sure. So we can, and I know what Nike does. I think Nike last year it did 37 billion. It did 37 billion last year. Maybe 2023 or 24, they did 37 billion. So I'm curious, what did Jordans make?
Michael Jordan doesn't even own the Jordan brand outright, but he gets a
No, he doesn't own it outright.
He gets a healthy cut.
He doesn't own it outright. That's
In
absolutely
recent years,
true.
Jordan brand has pulled in over $6 billion annually. Jordan gets 5% royalties.
Okay, dope. So Jordan brand makes $6 billion.
But you
gets $300
So $6 billion. So Nike, I know 1 year they made $37 billion. So what is that?
Jordan gets 5% of that.
So what's that? 20%? What is that? 20%? Let's do the math.
What do you mean?
But what we're talking
20% of what Nike makes.
Are we talking about making
He
money
makes
or
5.
about staying relevant?
You can't.
He makes 5% of what Nike makes.
No. The Jordan brand brings in $6 billion, which overall helps produces what Nike makes, right? I'm sure they're adding that into
but-
it.
Jordan gets 5% of what the Jordan company makes.
Yeah.
So
But
Nike
he's
gets
still-
95% of that $6 billion.
Okay, but we're going off.
No, he gets a royalty.
We're
That's
going off
different.
topic. You said you're talking about making money. LeBron's gonna make money. You're saying staying relevant in the public eye.
So how does LeBron stay relevant? I'm just curious.
Same way Tom Brady stayed relevant.
Tom Brady, to me, unfortunately, and I like Tom Brady, I feel like he's not that relevant in football anymore.
So
To me.
Okay.
Now he did. To me, I see him fading away from the game. I don't hear his voice as much anymore.
You don't watch
All of those
football.
things. Huh? I do watch.
You know he's an announcer, right?
And I know he announced the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm very much aware of that because I do watch. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I feel like it's faded. Do you feel like his fame is faded a little bit?
Only in the sense of that he doesn't play every day. Of course, he's not going to be. No one who doesn't play every day is not going to be talked about as much. LeBron's not going to be talked about
agree.
as much, but he's not going to fade into obscurity. For one, Bronny's still in the league, and he's going to start averaging 40 a game.
Do you think that LeBron is going to be some form of an announcer and show up to events and do stuff? I can guarantee you he won't.
No.
So therefore, if we're saying Tom Brady has faded to some degree and he's still involved with football, and now we're talking about that LeBron won't be that kind of guy that's going to be around the sport like that, then he is going to fade.
Tom Brady, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Tiger Woods, all these people have put themselves in a position to never go into obscurity because every time you talk about a GOAT, they have to be in the conversation.
So when the next
And the GOAT
when
is
the
talked
next
about
LeBron
every
comes,
day in every sport. Every day in every sport.
The next LeBron comes along, everybody's gonna be like, with Wemby, oh yeah, but LeBron did this at 22. Oh, but LeBron did that when he was 25.
Everybody will be compared to LeBron's stats every day in the NBA. He has them all.
I believe that.
So no, yeah, like he won't be as relevant as he is today. But Stephen A. Smith is saying like nobody's gonna talk about you. They will, in some degree,
Including Stephen A. Because he has to compare stats.
We're gonna see because we're definitely gonna be
I'll
around.
tell you this.
We're gonna be around for that.
LeBron is gonna be more relevant than Stephen A. Smith in the next 5 to 10 years.
Who? LeBron?
Yeah.
First
That's
of all,
crazy because his contract is for the next 5.
First of all,
So?
there is no planet Earth on which Stephen A. is even in the same stratosphere as topic worthy as LeBron James. So to compare them to as soon as Stephen A. is off TV, he'll never be mentioned again.
Good. So do you think that Stephen A. is the LeBron James in sports?
No, Bob Costas.
You can't be serious right now. It's definitely Stephen A. is the LeBron James in sports journalism for sure.
Dickie V.
For college basketball, Dickie V is the shit. Dick Vitale is fucking
I used to be
awesome.
playing in my driveway and just imagine
Man,
Dickie
can you
V
imagine
saying your
just
name.
saying
You know
your
what I mean?
fucking name? I would have been the shit.
Engle from downtown. You know what I mean? That was the dream.
I fucking love him, man. When he dies, that's gonna be sad, man.
It's true.
The way have you noticed the way he uses his hands?
Who? Dickie V?
Yeah. When he talks, he's always like using. Made me self-conscious as, what we do. Is like, what do you do with your hands? Look at him talk. He's always like.
Oh no,